as we were talking about, for those who are just popping in now, if you watched the session we did last on free ways to find content for social media, one of the pieces of content was the quarterly magazine that I touched on, and that's something that a few of you asked for a training on. So we're just going to go through where to find it, how to customize it. I will point out a couple of things that you'll definitely want to change because they're a little bit Americanized, of course, but not nearly as much as some of the other things that we've had come through. So I'll show you how to customize that, ways to brand it to yourself, and then ways to share it. So sending it out to your database, printing it and giving it to people, or just repurposing the content that's in there so you can create other posts or videos or things like that with it. So if anyone has any questions as I'm going through, just unmute yourself and speak up. I will monitor the chat, but I might miss it where I'm sharing my screen. I will go through it at the end, but if you do have a question, just unmute and speak up. So
yes, are you recording?
I am, yes.
Perfect.
All right. Has everyone seen the magazine or taken a look at it yet? Just to gauge, no? Okay. So we're starting from the beginning. So the very first thing in terms of any marketing you do in Command is you'll want to make sure that your marketing profile is complete. So I'm just going to share my screen here and show you what that looks like. Can you all see my Command screen?
Yeah.
So your marketing profile is in your settings, which you just click on your name here at the top, and then you go down to settings. Takes a moment to load, but basically what the marketing profile is it's somewhere you can fill in basically your profile. So your name, your contact info, your bio can go on there. You would upload your headshot and your logo or your team logo if you're on a team. Just pull it up here, make a little more sense. So it's under Connect settings in your Command settings. And then as you scroll through, you'll see you upload your headshot here. It will not let you save this whole form unless you have a photo uploaded. So if it's not letting you save it, just make sure you've done that. But then just go through and make sure that this is all filled out to the best of your ability. One thing to point out, the slogan is now a required field for some reason. If you do not have a slogan, you could put your team name in there or just put a space in that spot and it will let you save it. Your bios down here, market center information. So you'd upload the KW Select logo in this spot, and then all of the office information here as well. So this does pull into a few different places like your KW app and your KW website. But when you have things added in here like the market center logo and your headshot, it's also going to pull through to your designs. So when we're going through and designing that magazine, I'll have my headshot to quickly access. I don't need to upload it. So it just makes those fields, and even this stuff here would be pre-filled text boxes you can add to designs. So just make your life a little bit easier when you're constantly in there making new things, because you don't have to go and upload these files every single time. So highly recommend going through and making sure that that's filled out before starting.
What is our market number, license number? 87 something?
Brokerage, yeah, our market center number is 873.
Thank you.
In the States, they're required to display their office license number and your realtor license number on all marketing pieces. We don't have that requirement here, so you don't need to fill that in if you don't want to. Okay. So that's the marketing profile. So just a little thing to fill out before you go into starting to do any designs. But once you're ready to dive in, you just have to go to the Designs applet, which is the third from the bottom. It's a little paintbrush. And if you click on the KW in the top left corner, that is how you expand the menu and see what each option means. So until you're more familiar with them, you can always do that and expand the menu. So we're going to head into Designs. And we're going to click on Create Design. Once that pops up, you're going to choose a print design and then continue. So this will look familiar if you've done any designs in Command, but for the magazine in particular, it's under lead generation. So we go into that menu, you'll find the personally branded zine here. Okay, so as I mentioned, it is a quarterly magazine. So we release 4 per year. This is the summer Q3 one. So there'll be a new one in, I believe, end of September for October, November, December. So it'll be the winter edition. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Obviously, summer is coming to an end. There's still ways to use this, obviously. But this training obviously will apply to when that new one comes out. The process and customization is all still the same. So when you're ready to use it, you just click on use, which is this button here. And that's going to bring you right into where you can start editing and customizing that magazine. So there. Perfect. So this is the main cover of the magazine you can see here, and they actually provide you a few different covers to choose from. So the first thing when you're in here, you'll want to click on the pages button at the very, very bottom right, and it's going to expand to show you all of the pages that are included in the magazine. So you can see we have 3 different covers here. So you just choose the one that you want to use, that you think will catch people's eye. So it has nice emojis. So whatever one you want to go with, you just choose that. And then you'll just want to delete the other ones. So you obviously don't want 3 covers. So if I'm going to go with this cover here, I'm just going to come down and delete number 2 and 3. Okay, so to delete them, you just click the 3 dots on that page and delete. Okay. We're just going to get rid of those covers. Okay, so a few things to customize on the cover. First is the logo, obviously. So the DBA name one is just the generic logo that they put in there. So you want to make sure that that's the KW Select logo. So to do that, when you put your mouse over it, it's a little finicky sometimes, but if you get it to show that it has 4 arrows in a cross, once you click that, it will select the logo. And if you have the logo uploaded in your marketing profile, it should show up in here. If not, then you can upload it in here as well. And so you're just going to, with that highlighted, come over and find that correct logo, and then click this replace logo button. So it looks like a recycle icon. So when I click that, it's just going to fill in the KW Select logo. Okay. I can click and drag on the corners to make it bigger. It is pretty small there. So if you want that to be bigger, you can. And you can also add any other logos. So if you have a team and you have a logo, or even if you're an individual agent and you have your own logo, you can add that as well. It's good to add your own personal touch with branding and things like that. So I'm just going to add my little tech training logo down there. So any images you have here, you can also just click it and it will add it right onto the design. Okay. So I'll add my own logo there. Next would be up here. So agent/team name and office name. We don't really need to put the office name because the logo is there, which says the office name. So I would recommend putting in, so you double click it to actually highlight the text and edit it. So once you double click, it will let you change it here. So I'm going to put my name. Okay. If you have a team, I'd recommend putting your team name there. So I see Maureen on my screen. So put Ferguson Home Sales, something like that. If you're individual, it might just say your realtor or your real estate expert, something like that, just to add a little bit extra to it. But then you can obviously move that around as well. So you want to just line it up. So I could just put my name there if I wanted to. Down here, it's just a little bit of a sneak peek of what the articles are. So you can leave that as is. So once you've added your logo and everything there, that's really all you need to change. Of course, you can add more. You could add your headshot. I've seen people put their headshot here. So you could do that. However you want to brand it, you can completely change it if you wanted to. If, red's not your branding color, you could change this to fit your branding. Maybe it's more on the gray side. You could change that. Everything in here can be customized to your own branding. You could remove this title and put your own title in. It's fully customizable, but they do give you quite a few different template options if you want to just leave it as is. Okay. Any questions about the covers or customizing that part?
No, that's pretty straightforward so far.
Perfect. So then we can just start going through the pages and seeing what type of content's in here. So the very first page in the magazine is a note from you. So there's definitely a few things on here you'll want to customize. Obviously, you want a picture of you and not this random person, and not this random person's logo either. So I'm going to click on her photo. And when I come over to images here on the left-hand side, my headshot's here because it's in my marketing profile. So I'm going to click replace image. And so that's just added my headshot. Okay. You can change the sizing of the image if you need to make it fit, because I am going to click this logo here and then delete it because that's not my logo. So to delete from the editor, you can right click it and click cut. Just going to undo that there. You can also click it and hit backspace on your keyboard, or you can come up and click the remove icon up here. Backspace tends to be the easiest, I find, so just do that. I can make my picture bigger. And of course, I'm going to want to change this to my name up here. So a note from, so you might put your whole team name and put your team photo here if it's, you know, something that all of your team members are using. If it's just for you, you would just put your own name there. Okay. Down here's a spot to add additional team members. So if you did put a team photo in there, you could fill in everyone's name. Otherwise, you could just put your name again down here with Realtor, you know, with the little trademark icon and all of that. If you don't want that there either, you can just delete it. Okay. Then going through this text here, they actually have highlighted the places you need to customize, which is nice, so you won't miss them. But again, you just double click the text, which allows you to then go in and start editing. So if I'm an individual agent, it's going to say my and not our. So I'm just going to highlight this text and backspace it and fill in.
So Jess, I'm following along with my own. I did select a different cover, but I'm noticing that mine is not highlighted where I need to change anything. Is there something I should be doing?
That's very strange. Is it on this particular page? It's not highlighted?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, it's weird. I've never seen that happen before. We can take a look at that after if you'd like.
Perfect.
But yeah, just if it's not highlighted for you, you'll just have to scan through and see where those little spots are to change it. But so just make sure that you don't leave the I/we in there. So just go through and edit those. And at the bottom, it says insert photo of signature. So if you do have your signature handwritten in an image, you could put that there, or just write your name with all of your contact information there. And then of course, the DBA logo will come over once again, and we will mark there. We'll just delete it and put that down here and make it smaller. There we go. Okay. The next page down is a place to put stats. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can do specific neighborhoods. You could do Keller Williams Select as a whole. However you want to, or whatever stats you want to provide these people, you can fill in here. So market stats through Paragon is really handy to find that information. So again, all you have to do, click on the X or double click it. There we go. And then it will let you fill in. Say, I'm going to zoom in. It's very small and hard to see. Just make that bigger there. There we go. So number of homes sold might be 100. When you go down to the next one, average sale price might be 300,000. And when you see it come like this and it moves it to a new line, it just means that text box is not big enough to fit that amount of text. So the lines on each end of the text box, you can use click and drag to make that bigger, and then just move it over. Okay. So you could do multiple pages of these if you want to. So maybe you do HRM here, maybe you're also in Truro, maybe you service a few different areas. You might make a page for each of those areas. You might end up making 2 or 3 copies of this magazine in your designs and do this page differently in each one. There's ways to customize it for the people that you're actually sending it to, so it's relevant to them. Obviously, if you're in Sydney, you don't want to send them Halifax stats. So just make sure that what you're sending those people is relevant. So if you wanted to duplicate that page, it's the same way as how we deleted it. You could just come over here, click those 3 dots and choose duplicate. And so that's just going to add the page again. So then you could do, maybe you do Bedford and Sackville separately. You can create additional pages for that. Okay. Any questions about the stats?
No, where's the most relevant spot to grab those stats? Is it just info stats, market stats out of the NSAR?
I would say market stats, just where it comes directly from them. I know NSAR publishes stats, CREA publishes stats, but usually they're like backdated sort of. So you'll get stats for like May, June right now, because they're just getting all that data processed. So market stats, I believe, is more real time. You can see like what's actually on the market currently. And so I think that's the most accurate way. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong or suggest something else if you know somewhere else. But from what I know, market stats would be the most accurate place to go. Okay. All right. So that's the quarter in review. You could do this monthly if you wanted to. Obviously, if you're printing this magazine somewhere professionally, you don't want to change it every month. You want it to stay relevant for a bit longer. So it would be more of a quarterly thing. But if you were just, sending this out on social media or sending the link to people, you could do it monthly. You could change this as well. So again, you just double click the text and we'll let you change that. So there's lots of ways to repurpose that one. Then it gets into the actual articles. So first is 5 vacation tips that won't break the bank. And so this is already made. It has an introduction here. And then as you go through the next pages, it just goes through those 5 tips. So on this one in particular, under number 2, it talks about US national parks. Probably not relevant for your clients. So you could double click that and you could come here and say there are, just highlight this. There are more than 100 urban. I can't type. Okay. Just make sure it's all formatted right. Okay. So just make sure again that it's relevant. So I googled that. I think there's more than 200 to be honest. So just make sure you double check that for an exact number. And then at the bottom, there is a link here to state parks. I'm going to put the link to Nova Scotia parks for this one. It's not gonna let me change it. Okay. So when you click that and it has the red box, I just learned something new as I'm doing it. The red box means it's a link. And so when you click that, up in this box, there's a remove link button. And then you can actually just change that link. So now I can add the link and I'm going to paste the Parks Nova Scotia. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think I'm missing some functionality because when I clicked on mine, it didn't show a link and it didn't show me that I could change a link either.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is remove that link actually, and I'm going to remove that text box altogether. And I'm just going to go into this text box and paste my link. And I would say there's something funky happening with that link field. So I just went and deleted it and I'm going to paste that link in manually. Okay, so if you ever find something there isn't working, sometimes it will be easier to just delete it and then you can re-add a text box and put that information in. With the templates, there can be little bugs like that, which you kind of find as you're doing it. So there are workarounds, but that is a way to put their link in there correctly. So that's that page. And then the next page just keeps going through more of those tips. Okay. After that, it sticks in a page about a featured listing, With our market, listings are not listed for a quarter anymore. You just really don't see that as much. So this may not be something you even want to include. You want to make sure it's timely, and if you sent this out and this listing's already sold, it's not relevant to those people. So it may not be something you want to include information that's going to change day by day, things like listings and things like that. So you could remove this page, you could repurpose it if you had some other information you wanted to put in there, things like that, but we're just going to delete that page for now. Okay, next is the 4 first-time homebuyer facts, and there are a few things in here you'll want to change. So on the first tip here, it talks about not being able to afford to buy a home right now, and it does talk about, from a financial point of view in the United States, about tax savings on mortgage interest. You may want to reformat that as, tax credits for first-time home buyers. Talk about those kind of rebates that they can get, and obviously more relevant because it would be Canadian, but the rest of it is still relevant. So depending on your credit score, you could end up affording more than you realize. And then, although there may be a higher initial cost, if you're staying in one place, the equity you build can end up being better than that. Okay. It once again has a link here. So that's going to an info page about first-time home buyers. You may want to delete that altogether if you don't want to link them elsewhere. So again, click that link, remove the link, and then remove that field. And again, we can just remove these. Okay. Page 2, we have a few other things. So let's see, it talks about the recession in the States, which is still good information. I mean, it wasn't as bad here, but obviously the effects are still the same when economies are going down. So you could even just reframe this as look back to the Great Recession in the US, for example, as you're not, informing them about their own economy. You're just using it as an example for why there's never a right or wrong time to buy a home. It's just an example. So the information is still relevant there. And at the end, it talks about timing and time. So why, you shouldn't wait. Things like that. Okay. Number 3, it does talk about, let's see here, down payments. So just make sure that that's correct. And then it does talk about, what's it here? Maybe not. I think that one's okay. Page or number 4 talks about credit score. So it does refer to loan officers. You might call it a mortgage specialist at a bank or a mortgage broker. Use the terminology that people here would be familiar with. That would be the main change there. And then again, there are these links, so you can delete them if you don't want those there. It links to a page that goes over all of this info for them, but if it includes that American info, you may not want to share that with them. So totally up to you there. So those are the ways to, make it more relevant and more Canadian. Those were the things that I noticed. Any questions about the articles that are in there or customizing those? I'll take that. That's a good thing. The next one down is just about you. So this is where you can put your own profile, years in business, total clients served. If you don't want to include that info, of course, you can just click it and delete it. So we could remove all of this if we don't want to put that there. You can leave it there and fill it in. Just going to remove it to show you. And then you can move this like that and just spread it out a little bit more. So it fills that page. Okay. So this just talks about Keller Williams, that you can leave as is. You can add some information about yourself if you do have your bio written, and then your credentials, contact information as well. And it goes over our value or mission statement as well down here. Next page is success stories. That's somewhere you can feature testimonials if you have those from clients. So if you've had people leave you reviews, you can always ask if they'd be willing to let you feature it in your magazine for promotions and things like that. So you may not have a photo of them, that's fine. You may have their photo with their sold sign when they bought their house, you could put that there. But this is a good place just to, add that personal touch with testimonials from people who have actually worked with you and had experience with you. So if you are giving this out to potential clients, they have the chance to read that. Okay. Then it has the, if you can't stand the heat, cool down the kitchen. And these are all relevant for everyone. So it's just talking about ways to level up your cooking basically in the summer, avoid the heat, things like that. So that, I mean, it works on both sides of the border. And then lastly, we have more listings. So you could delete that if you're not planning to feature listings. We have Ask an Agent. So that's just where you can give a tip. So if you have a piece of information to provide or that you think would be of value to them, add your photo here. Or if you're on a team or working for a team, you could put a few different pages with different tips with pictures of other agents. So that's another option as well. And the very end has a page for your app. So if you are using your KW app and you have your app link, you can insert your personal app link here and then include that in your magazine. Okay, so that just directs people to be able to download your app, have it branded to you, and then they can obviously search for properties and you can see what they're doing and connect with them that way. So that's what's in the magazine. Basically, each quarter will be the same with some slight changes. The articles will be different. They'll be more seasonal. So the spring one was about spring cleaning and, you know, getting ready for summer, things like that. And so the winter, you'll see them be more relevant for that season as well. Any questions about actually editing the magazine?
No, it all seems straightforward and it's way easier than having to create your own content.
Exactly.
Are we able to, email this out to our clients?
Yes, so that's the next thing I'm going to go through is how to actually send it out and share it with people. And this will work for anything you create and design. So if you have a listing presentation or buyer package, things like that, anything you want to be able to distribute, you can use these methods. So the very first way would be to print it. You could print it, you could either print it yourself in the office. So that's what I did with my example. So if you don't know, we do have the binding machine in the office to make packages. So we have the clear covers with the cardstock on the back and you can bind it. And so I printed that magazine. We've got all those pages in there. And so that's an option. You can print it in the office and bind it and it costs you nothing. Well, besides your prints, basically. There are ways to print it like as an actual physical magazine through like Vistaprint, Staples. I think Minute Man Press would do them, but they are pretty pricey. Like you're looking at anywhere from like $5 to $10 per magazine, which can get really pricey when you're trying to send it out as a promotional thing. So digital's really your friend here, and printing it, you know, if someone wants a printed copy, you can always say, here's the digital copy. If you would like a printed copy, let me know. Some people won't want it, they'll just read it. Some people will want that physical copy, and then you could just print it at the office and give it to them. You could also incorporate it into your listing or your seller and buyer packages. So if you're doing those presentations, each quarter, just update it with your new quarterly magazine, stick it in, and if you're already making those packages, you're just adding those pages in. So that's the way to print it. Obviously you could print it and staple it if you are just keeping it simple. But yeah, so that's printing. Next would be sharing it online. So there's a few different ways to do that. First, you're going to want to link to this. So you need to put it somewhere that you can actually link people to it to view it. Designs does this for you, which is really nice. So once you're done and you've customized it and you're happy with it, you can come up here and click share. Just going to save progress there. And then you're going to click the project. This gives you a link to this design for people to view. It defaults to anyone can view, which I recommend leaving that. If you set it to anyone from KW can view, only people who are logged in with a KW email can view it. And then private would mean only people who you actually are part of Command and you're sending the link directly to could see it. So you want to make sure anyone can view it. So just leave that as is. And then you're just going to copy this link. And then you can start distributing that link in different places. So I'm just going to open a new tab here and paste that link in here. And so this is the viewer. So when you click that link, it's just going to bring them right in, and they can just start scrolling through the magazine. Okay. There are other ways to display it. There's like ones that make flip books where the pages actually turn. It's getting a little more fancy with it, and they usually cost. So there is a cost associated with those programs. There's a few that I can recommend if anyone's looking for them, but this is a great free option. You don't have to pay for anything, and you don't have to use any separate program. You just copy that link directly in there. And what's nice is when you actually, let's say you shared this with people through the link, and then you look through and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to change that. When you go back and change it, because it's the link, it links them back.
Oh, that's awesome. So if we were to do this as an email distribution to our database, to our clients that are in there, and this is exactly what Vicky's asking right now. She's asking, says, can you do a mass email from your contacts in Command?
Yes. So I've created something for all of you. I've created you a smart plan specifically for KW Select. And so I made it a little more Canadianized. But I'm going to go home here. Just go back into Command. Oh, that brings me back to my designs. Okay, we'll just go back to Command. Okay, so I created, and it's not a big smart plan, it's a single step. It's just so that you can send an email out, but it's made with a design, so it makes it a little more flashy. So you can go to Smart Plans. And you're going to go to the library. And so you can either search by smart plan name, and if you search KW Select, it will come up, or you can search by author name and search for my name. And I've created this one here for the Q3 summer magazine. So I'm going to add that to my smart plan library. I already have it because I made it. So I'm going to go back. And it is the, I had a bunch of example ones I was working on yesterday. So that's this one here. And I'm going to edit it. Okay, so the subject is your quarterly real estate resource guide, and the design is here. So if you want to preview what that looks like, you can click preview. And so this is an email that would be sent out. It has a screenshot of the cover. If you choose a different cover, you'll want to edit the photo that's there just so it's actually looking like yours, and obviously has your name and everything on it. But then it just has a sneak peek of what's in there, a link to actually go and read the magazine. And then if you're looking to sell or buy, give me a call, basically. So to customize that, when you click those three dots, you click on edit. That's fine. So we'll click got it. And so now here, if you did want to change the image, obviously I kept it generic, so it doesn't say anything on it. So once they go in, if you did use this cover, obviously the link will have your information on the front. So if you just want to leave it simple, you can leave that as is. If you want to put your own cover on there, you can click the image, click the pencil, and then when you click replace, it's just going to prompt you to upload an image. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of the front of your magazine and put that in there, whatever you want to do. If you had your own like header with your branding on it, you can add that as well. You customizing this won't change it for anyone else. It's only going to change it for you. So you can change this as much as you want. It's just somewhere to start for you. So that's all there. The only thing you need to make sure to do is come to the button, click the pencil, and make sure that you link it to a web address. And that's where you're going to take that link. So they copied. Yeah, the link to your magazine as the web address. Click done. And so now I can preview this email just by clicking this little preview button. And so it has your information. The marketing profile is very important. So it fills in your photo and your contact info at the top. Comes down here, they can click to read. Has your phone number filled in there automatically, and then all of your information at the bottom. Okay. So once you're happy with that, you can add, like I said, you can add more. You might send a message that says, hi, contact first name, wanted to share my new magazine with you. You can change this as much as you want. I just wanted to have something made that you can basically plug and play and send out to your whole database if you wanted to. So that's all done there. So you just click on save to make sure it saves. Then you click the X and click save again. Don't click discard. I don't know if it will discard anything, but always click save. Now that's here, and all I have to do is come up to the add contact button, and then I can just start selecting people that I want to send this to. Okay. So I'm just going to send this to myself. I'll do all of my fake ones because I don't know which one has my actual email on it. Okay. So I'm just selecting the people that I want to send that to. If you're using tags, it makes it very, very easy. You might have a tag and you want to send this to all your buyers, for example. You can go to tags, find your buyer tag, and select all of those people. So if you do have your database organized and you want to send it to a specific group, that makes it really, really easy. So I've selected all the people I want to send it to. I'm going to click add to smart plan. I can choose to start them now. Maybe I only want this to go out on the 1st of August or 1st of September. If you are planning ahead and sending this out on specific dates, you can always set it to start on that date so everyone gets it on the same day at the same time. Or you can stagger it. So if you are sending it to like 800 people, you may not want them all to reply all at once. So you may want to stagger it so it only sends to 15 people a day or 50 people a day. You can customize that there if you do have a really big database. So I'm just going to click start all now and click confirm. And so now that's
Jess,
yeah.
if we wanted to send this out to say our sphere, is there anywhere in there already where the disclaimer is about, not intended to solicit anyone already under contract, or we need to put that in there?
So I believe it is, let me just pull that up here. I think it's in the disclaimer at the very bottom.
Okay.
I'll preview it here. Yeah, if you have a brokerage relationship with another agency, this material
Okay, perfect.
as a solicitation, reliable but not guaranteed. And then each office is independently owned and operated. So it does have those disclaimers there at the bottom. You can add them up here as well if you do want them to be more obvious, and you can change that as well. So if you wanted to change the wording of it, that's an option too.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one way to send it out. You could also just send an email and paste the link in it if you want to be simple with it. So there's many options for sharing it that way. But I did want to make this just so you guys have something to easily edit. Okay. Any questions about that or the smart plan?
My brain is buzzing. No question. I feel like I kind of lost a step about how to grab the smart plan and do that, but I'll go back and watch the recording.
Yeah, so it's in the library, and you just search. You can either search by author name or by the name of the smart plan. If you search by author name, you'll find it very easily. You just search my name and click add the smart plan, and it will put it in. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
No questions in the chat. All right, so then you can also post the link on social media, of course. So I could go onto my Facebook page, click create post. Obviously you want to write something. And the first page of not the first page, but this page here, you can actually copy this text and put that as your caption. It's just an introduction to your magazine. You could put this as your email copy if you were sending it by email. And so that's a way to repurpose what's actually in there. So I could copy that and make it my caption and write it here. And then just paste the link, and it's going to have a little preview once it's posted of what your magazine looks like. And that will link them right to that page where they can view it. You could also add a photo. So if you were posting something to Instagram, it's very photo based. So you may want to choose a stock photo or a nice photo you have that you've taken, something that's relevant to some of the content that's in there. So for, cooking outside, you might put a stock photo of someone barbecuing in their backyard. just something to catch attention. So we could just add a photo like this. We can have one there. Yeah. So you could write a caption, put the link, and when you add a photo, it'll replace that preview and use that as the eye-catching part instead. Okay.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. And I do recommend putting some sort of call to action. So at the bottom after your caption, put, click the link below for your free real estate resource guide. You could also, if you didn't want to put the link and you want to, have people engage with your post, you could say, comment below if you want a copy, or comment me if you want a copy. And so then people are going to start commenting on your post. It'll get more engagement and show up in people's news feeds. And then it gives you the opportunity to actually message that person and reach out and
So-
personally send a link.
Are we able to put that into a boosted post that we can then track for SmartPlan?
For sure. Yeah. So you could do it as an ad with that lead generation form. If you watch any of the campaigns trainings we've done, you could, when you put the lane or the lead generation form and then you choose a link of where you're sending them, you just simply do the form. So they have to fill out their information, and the link is your design link. So just fill in their name, email, phone number, and then they get to see your magazine. And so that's a way that you can use it to generate leads as well. Okay.
Wow.
So that's posting the magazine as is and ways to share that. But there's ways to repurpose the content that's actually inside without actually sharing the magazine. So things like videos, like the video Colin did about the Halifax real estate market. You could do a video on the magazine here, 5 vacation tips that won't break the bank. And then just film yourself reading these tips. Okay, that's a video that you could send out very easily. You don't have to think of anything. All of your content's here. This is basically your script. And you just put a little video together, recording yourself, talking about the different places or different things you can do in Nova Scotia for vacation. Same thing with the first-time home buyer tips. You could copy and paste the text, and maybe if you do any blogging or anything like that, you could copy each text box and put it into your blog post. Or maybe you just send it out as an email SmartPlan and you schedule them once a week and they get one fact every week. Bunch of ways to repurpose that content that's in there. You can also save these as images. So you could, instead of having a PDF file, you could save these as JPEGs and then post them as individual photo posts on social media. So I actually did that. If I go back to designs. Social magazine there. So I just created a blank social design and then converted my PDF into images. And then I just uploaded all of the images into here. Okay, so now I have multiple pages here and I kind of cropped them so they were square for social media. And so now this is something you can go through and just post as like a carousel on Instagram or on Facebook. Okay, so you just crop it as square, basically. You could screenshot the PDF as well, if that's easier. Or from the actual PDF design, you can download them as images, but then you just have to go through and crop each one. So it might be easier to just screenshot it. You can also, I used, I love pdf.com. And I can send this link out as well. But there is a PDF to JPG. And so you can just upload your completed magazine. I'm just going to do that there. Convert to JPG. And then it's just going to let you download a zip file with all of the pages as individual images. So I'd say that would be the fastest way to convert it. You can download the JPG, and then it gives me a folder with all of those images to be able to crop and post. Let's see what else here. You can also take it and shorten it. So obviously these are very long things, and to make that an Instagram caption, that would be very, very long. So you might just say, you might have a post with the 5 vacation tips, and maybe you just say, make a splash with a water soaked getaway, and then list, Atlantic Splash Adventure or whatever it's called, or Magic Mountain in New Brunswick, things that are close by that they can do. You can shorten that and take little bits and pieces from it, and then customize it and add any other things that you want to. So there's many ways to take this content and just reuse it in all different ways for written content, videos, and for image posts as well. Okay. Any other questions, any questions at all, or anything you want to see that I didn't go through?
Nothing that I can think of right now, Jess. My head is swimming with this information. It's wonderful.
Yeah, perfect. No other questions? All right, so I have another document just with some like reminders. So the things that I went through, like how to repurpose for social media, places to share it, the things that should be customized in that specific one with in terms of the Americanized terms. I do have some point forms of that, so I can send that out to everyone that's on here if that's helpful. But yeah, if you have any questions or anything as you're going through the magazine or anything's not working right, as you see, there are some little things that it has its quirks for sure. But once you get around those and you figure out and get comfortable with the workarounds, it's a really, really valuable piece of information that you can use to give to your clients.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I struggle with content, and I think I expressed that when you did the digital stuff, the content and calendar. So this is wonderful because it actually gives me the content to use, and then it might spark me to actually be like, oh yeah, I could talk about this, or oh, that's awesome, I can talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can basically take it and now I just lost my train of thought. The thought has left the building.
Welcome to my world.
But yeah, there's many ways to use it. And you can, what I was going to say was, if you look at that last training that we did and all of those different sources for articles and different pieces, you can add more into this. I mean, when you double-side it, it's only 10 pages long, but you could add other articles, or you might add information about the down payment assistance program or the first-time home buyer tax credits. You can add as many pages into that magazine as you want to. It's just a matter of adding it. You do have to obviously add your text boxes. There's no template for it, but you can repurpose some of those pages and edit them and be able to add your own text as well. So there's endless options for what you can add to that to level it up even more.
That's actually really wonderful. Oh, Sonia's dog is barking. That's
All right,
awesome.
so I'll have the recording up probably later today or tomorrow, and then I'll send out the document I have with all the point form of what I talked about as well.
That is absolutely wonderful, Jess. Thank you so much. I did have 2 versions of this magazine show up in my design, so I'm wondering if the other version of it was more complete with the highlights. So I'll go back and check that. And if it's still not working, I'll reach out and maybe you can help me figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so there's an A4 and there's letter, which I always thought were the same, but they're not. A4 is slightly longer, and so that might be why you're seeing multiple versions. It's not showing all of them, but yeah, there is an A4 version normally when you're in here, so that might, if you go into that one, it might be actually showing that. They usually, Vicki, they usually release it in the last week of the previous quarter, so last week of September, normally they'll release it for October, November, December. Yeah.
Oh, good to know. So you can't really plan ahead too much.
Not too much. But if you know it's coming in that last week, then put aside an hour or two to go through it. But I have it in my calendar to send it out a reminder once it comes out, now that we've been able to do a training and go through it. I just didn't want to confuse people prior to actually teaching you how to use it. So yeah, so whenever a new version comes out, I will send out some messaging about that so you see it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. No last minute questions?
That's great.
All right, well, that's all I've got for you. Like I said, if you have any questions as you're going through it, just send me an email or give me a call, and happy to help.
Thanks, Jessica. Great as usual.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a great day, everyone.
Awesome, Jess. Thank you.
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.